In the top stories, thousands march against the solid waste tax, a call for better treatment for plant quarantine officers, and Akela Jones wins gold at World Juniors. Welcome to Nation News for Thursday, July 24th, 2014. I'm Natasha Beckles.
No matter where you are in the world, at home or abroad, Nation News keeps you connected with what's happening in Barbados through our website, video newscast, and online e-papers. So stay connected with Nation News. Your time, your way.
Thousands of boisterous protesters joined opposition leader Mia Mottley in a march from Hero Square to Bay Street today to protest the recently introduced municipal solid waste tax. Police estimated the crowd to be around 3,000, including curious onlookers. Some of the placard-bearing protesters said they were unable to pay the tax.
We come up because they can't pay the solid waste tax. Why they off? My water so off, I can't pay my mortgage. Why you can't cut the salary I have? These people are unreasonable. You can't take them all. That way all of you here.
The march stopped at the traffic lights on Bay Street, where Ms. Mottley gave a short speech. She then continued to government headquarters, accompanied by some of her colleagues. She expressed dissatisfaction that she was unable to deliver the letter to the Prime Minister himself, but was instead met by his driver, Sergeant Glenn Bradshaw. Leader of opposition business in the House, Kerry Simmons, said he was pleased with the turnout. A government official says plant quarantine officers are being treated as second-class citizens at the island's ports of entry. According to Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Lennox Chandler, the Plant Quarantine Division represents the first line of defense against threats from pests and diseases, and its officers need to be accorded greater privileges. He said plant quarantine officers were not given the same accommodation or access to facilities as other border security personnel. Mr. Chandler made the comments this morning at the launch of the Plant Quarantine Procedures Manual at the Ministry's Graham Hall, Christchurch office. For the first time in the history of the Piccadilly Crop competition, the Monarch will get the opportunity to perform at Dimanche Gras in Trinidad and Tobago. This was revealed today by event producer Aja during a press conference at Kensington Oval, the venue for the August 1st event. As part of the arrangement, Trinidad's Calypso Monarch Chucky will be making a guest appearance at this year's Piccadilly Crop finals. This year's Monarch will win over $100,000 in prizes, including a brand new Mazda 3. The Royal Barbados Police Force has advised members of the public to be extra vigilant when conducting transactions at automatic teller machines. This follows several reports received from members of the public about unauthorized withdrawals via ATMs. Members of the public are being urged to inspect ATMs for strange devices before inserting their cards, as well as cover the keypad when entering their personal identification numbers and to be aware of suspicious persons in the area of the ATM. Outgoing principal of Graydon Sealy Secondary School, Matthew Farley, has suggested that government increase its subvention to private schools, which have made a significant contribution to the island's education system. Addressing graduates of the Seventh-day Adventist School earlier this week, he said the retrenchment of both public and private sector workers had forced many parents to transfer their children from private to public schools. He urged government to revisit its allocation to private and assisted schools as soon as its resources allow. The commemoration of the Cuban Revolution will be a part of this year's Day of National Significance. President of the Clement Payne Movement, David Commissiong, said on Wednesday that representatives from the Cuban Embassy have been invited to participate in the wreath-laying ceremony, which will take place on Saturday at Golden Square, the city. The political activists encouraged all Barbadians to be a part of the event, especially as the movement sought to raise the profile of the day, which commemorates the 1937 riots. July 26 is also the day Cubans remember the start of the Cuban Revolution. Times may be tough, but one charitable venture is recording an increase in funds raised. $15,000 more, to be precise. The Chafet Fun Run, a legacy project of the late Dame Olga Lope Steele, or Auntie Olga, raised $65,000 this year, up from $50,000 in 2013. The funds are managed by Variety, the children's charity, as was requested by Auntie Olga in her will. The announcement came this morning during a presentation of prizes and appreciation for sponsors at Chafet's Wildy St. Michael head office.
It is certainly heartwarming to see that, notwithstanding everyone is struggling, in their own way, that individuals, schools, corporate Barbados is coming out in such a very, very generous way to assist persons who they recognize require the need. It allows the kids to go to school in dignity. They, are able to wear nice clean uniforms, have their backpacks, have their materials, and also then to be able to focus on what they need to focus on, which is really academics, and not be worrying about, do I have a clean shirt to wear tomorrow, or do I have a pair of shoes?
In sport, it's a dream come true for Akela Jones, who created history Wednesday night, becoming Barbados' first ever female world champion when she won gold at the World Junior Athletics Championships. The 19-year-old former Hildeskein Primary and Springer Memorial athlete won gold in the long jump with 6.34 meters. It was also Barbados' first ever World Juniors medal. Jones says she had been preparing for this moment for the past 3 years after getting injured in Barcelona and not winning a medal there. Sprinter Levi Cadogan, who recently turned pro, finished fourth in the men's 100 meters in 10.39 seconds. More details are on our website, nationnews.com. Barbados Under 17 football team topped the tables in their group at the Caribbean Football Union competition in Dominican Republic earlier this week. Barbados finished with 7 points from 3 matches. After drawing 1-1 with Guyana, they beat Dominican Republic and Antigua and Barbuda by the same 2-0 margin in the last 2 group matches. In the Caribbean Premier League T20, Barbados Tridents beat St. Lucia Zouks by 29 runs on Wednesday when the series shifted to Kensington Oval. Dwayne Smith stroked his first T20 100, batting through the innings for 110 as Tridents reached 186 for 2. In reply, Zouks fell short, scoring 157 for 4. The second match will be played on Thursday. Judoka Ono Obasi Oki came up just short, finishing 4th in the women's competition as the Commonwealth Games got underway on Thursday in Glasgow. Oki lost the bronze medal match to Australia's Amy Meyer in her weight division. Asa Withers won his opening match but lost in the round of 16. The news was not so good for the rest of those competing. In netball, Barbados lost to Trinidad and Tobago 38-37. World number 1 Malaysia blanked Barbados 5-0 in mixed badminton. Cyclist Javid Mukhtar finished 24th in men's sprint qualifying, while Jason Wilson was 18th and Matthew Wright 20th in the men's triathlon. And finally, a man in Florida apparently got a dose of road rage karma when police say he was run over by his own pickup truck after getting out to bang on another driver's window. Reports say 48-year-old Joseph Carroll had been drinking and drove into a vehicle stopped at a red light. He got out of his truck without putting it in park and began banging on the window of a woman's car. When the frightened woman drove away, there was nothing holding his truck in place. The truck rolled onto Carroll, leaving him with fractures in his hand and foot. And that's Nation News for Thursday. You can get it on our website, nationnews.com, as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.